I'm going to yell, don't take it personally up close, but I want to make sure you all in the hall can hear. A couple of comments about what you've already heard. First with Chris and Patrick and the veterans. Yesterday, and Tim Kaine, yesterday I was with the governor at Quantico where he signed the 22 bills for both veterans and active duty military members that got through the General Assembly this year. And in my comments, I reflected back, since it's a presidential year, on the last presidential election, when we had a governor whose state board of elections went into court to argue against counting military ballots.
Wow.
You heard that right, and I want you to remember it and share it. Governor Kaine, his state board of elections, went into federal court against McCain-Palin to argue against counting military members, active duty military members, absentee ballots.
Boo, boo, boo.
And not only that, we had registrars, including in Arlington, some of Patrick's best territory, in Arlington, who did not mail our active duty members their ballots on time. They broke the law. And Kaine still argued that those ballots shouldn't be counted. So when you all are talking to your friends who are veterans, people you know, families of active duty military members, don't forget that issue. George Allen needs you to share that issue. But that speaks, as you already heard, to how their team views that sacrifice and that commitment. It is a very stark difference between our team and their team. Look at what they're doing with the military and sequestration right now. They're playing chicken with national defense. And I don't mean a few dollars. I'll tell you right here, I don't think defense ought to be off the table for budget cuts like anything else at the federal level. My answer to what do you cut is everything. But you don't pile all the cuts on what George Allen continually refers to as the first obligation of the federal government, and that's national defense. Tim Kaine is happy to do that. Barack Obama is happy to do that. The two incumbents these guys are going to take out are right on board with that. That's unacceptable for America. That's unacceptable for America. And I don't typically offer a lot of reflections on the rest of the world, but the rest of the world doesn't want that to happen either. We play as much as, I forget who said it, but the only thing the world dislikes more than a stable America is an unstable America. They can gripe all they want, but the world is a safer place when America is a stable place with a strong military. And that is under assault by Tim Kaine, Jerry Connolly, Jim Moran, Barack Obama. Don't ever let your veteran and active duty friends and family know that. In Virginia, we have more veterans per capita than any other state in the country. And the two main areas are Northern Virginia for active duty and veterans, and Springfield is huge for that, and Southeastern Virginia. We're in the middle of it here. We need to be talking about this. And I'll tell you what's going to happen in September and October. Under federal law, the Lockheed Martins and the Northrop Grummons and all of those guys, by law, they've got to start sending out the pink slips. Those pink slips are going to start showing up in the weeks before Election Day. So it's very important for you to talk about this now, because it's going to explode in 2.5 months. And if you'd already planted that seed, you're doing it the right way. You're talking about the substance of the issue and how Republicans, without taking defense off the table because of our budget situation, will make it and continue to make it a priority for preservation in the functioning of this government and the place of America in the world. And needless to say, of all the states, it probably matters more to Virginia than anywhere else. Second comment on Pat Mullins about how well we do in Northern Virginia. In 2009, I barely lost Northern Virginia by about 52-48. And got more votes for Attorney General than anyone in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Okay? We need to improve on that for these guys to have a shot. But we've got to hold our own. This is the Democrat strategy is not hard to figure. They got to run the score up here. And we're here to stop them. We're here to stop them at doors, on phones, wherever we can find folks. And I appreciate that the hours here end until 9 p.m. Take an hour off and then start calling their people. That's a joke for anybody who wants to. Sad I have to label those things, but I do. And I'm doing my part. I'm keeping a bunch of them busy from knocking on doors and making phone calls outside today. So I seem to have attracted their protest. And let me share with you. It is telling alone, as John mentioned, that the Democrat Board of Supervisors would sue their own president 4 months before Election Day. What John didn't tell you is why. And it has 9 figures in it. The remediation, total remediation required, if we lose this case, is on the order of $400 to $500 million for one watershed. How many are there in Fairfax? 30 something. Yeah, there's like 30 some odd watersheds in Virginia. I'm sorry, in Fairfax. That's just Fairfax. So those of you who live here, you have that to look forward to in your real estate taxes. But what they're doing, now remember this is under the Clean Water Act. The idea is to keep water clean. Okay, I hope we can all agree that's a good idea. They are regulating water. That's what you're supposed to keep clean. They're treating it like a pollutant. Literally. They're banning water over a certain volume. Take that one up with God, you know. But if this stands, what will have to be condemned? Property condemned. VDOT is the state client. And by the county, to do this remediation is almost beyond comprehension, given what we're doing. And one of the main complaints of the county is that it won't solve the problem. They don't care about that. This is their foray into local land use. And they're doing this in the first term. This is the first term. Wait till he gets all that flexibility he told his Russian friend about. John isn't going to have anything to do on the Board of Supervisors. Barack Obama's going to be doing it.
Hey, wait a minute.
And John wasn't kidding. You know, there's only one person in this room who's won an election closer than me. That's John. And we overlap 5 precincts. And I can tell you, in my year, 07, I was the only remaining Republican left in Northern Virginia. A lot of you helped me survive that onslaught against the same opponent, right? Yes, she just keeps popping up. But losing, we're okay with that. Olazek. Yeah, I told people Cuccinelli versus Olazek wasn't an election, it was a spelling bee. But at least Cook made that simpler. But cheaper bumper stickers, too. But, you know, it is the door knocking and it is the phone calling, it is the live human contact that no TV ad, no radio ad, no mailing can ever overcome. You are more powerful personally than anything else we can buy off of any of these campaigns. There's no substitute for what you all do individually, short of one thing, the actual candidates showing up and being in front of the individual person. And there are too many people in these districts and across Virginia for them to reach more than a fraction of folks personally. We are totally dependent on you all to play that role. And, but if we do it, John can attest to it, I can attest to it, even if it is close, that's the way to win. And let me tell you something. I am a grassroots fanatic. I have been outspent in 4 races and won 4 races because people like you have come out and who share my commitment to first principles and have put us over the top while being outspent. The president had a 3.5-year head start on us on this election. And as we all know in Virginia, we've seen him popping in all the time, kind of unusual for us. But he's been here repeatedly. Now I'm to the point where I'm like, hey, come on over. You want to go to Roanoke again? You know? I'll drive. You know? But the trial lawyer story, the best witness in the world is the other side's when they're killing themselves. So you just think up more questions to ask them. You know? And this president is showing us what he really believes, and he's doing it right here in Virginia. He's doing it right here in Virginia. And we need to share his own message with everybody else in Virginia. There are a lot of disappointed Obama voters from '08. There are a lot of them. And they're up here, and they're not off limits to us. Because we're right. And our candidate is better. Right now we're in the middle of the Olympics. 10 years ago, Mitt Romney had the greatest management accomplishment, completely unassailable from a bipartisan basis, in his turnaround of the 2002 Olympics. America was on the verge of embarrassment, humiliation in those Olympics. Those of you that remember, it wasn't just we weren't on time. Corruption, utter failure was a rolling story there. And Mitt Romney came in and turned it around. And for the first Olympics since 1896, where the IOC was thinking of pulling the Olympics out of the host country, can you imagine what a humiliation that would have been? Mitt Romney stopped that from happening and turned it not into a passable, okay, we survived this, but into a success. Into a success. America needs that kind of a turnaround at the CEO level. And Mitt Romney can bring it. But he's only going to bring it if we help him get there. And for the first time in our lifetimes, Virginia sits on the fulcrum in the presidential race. It's hard to imagine many scenarios where Virginia's not in the winner's column. And that's going to be determined one person at a time, one volunteer at a time, one voter at a time. We're already in a position where we'll go even on the air time and the radio and all that kind of thing. You all are going to make that difference. You all are going to win this race. And I got to tell you, I get around Virginia quite a bit. And with my grassroots focus, until mid-June, they were beating us on the ground. And certain people here can tell you that I did not keep that thought to myself. But this operation has learned on a rolling basis and has adjusted very quickly. And I'll tell you, in the last 5 weeks, we have flipped that coin. We are beating them on the ground today. We're beating them on the ground. And you all are now, not only have you overtaken the other side on the ground, the momentum we've got going forward, if we keep this going, we're going to win this race on the ground in Virginia. You all hang in there, and the others like you around Virginia. If we stay on the track we're on, we will win this race on the ground in Virginia. You all are making that happen. You all are making that happen. God bless you for it, and thank you very much.